I don't have a problem with the state taking over schools or school districts. I actually think Lawrence, for example, where Jeff Riley is the receiver up there. I've known Jeff Riley for 15 years. He's a real urban education warrior. He was an inspired appointment, in my opinion, by the governor to be the receiver of Lawrence schools. And if you look at what's happened in Lawrence since they went into receivership, it's been significant improvement in both test scores and attendance. Morale has improved. What's interesting to me about Lawrence is they renegotiated the collective bargaining agreement and lengthened the school day, which was a good thing. About 15% of the teachers left, but about 50% of the principals were replaced. Now, no one said anything about that, but what that says to me is that they had a bigger concern about the leadership at the school level than they did with respect to the teachers. And I've always believed that if you have a great principal, when I travel around the Commonwealth and I go to cities, even cities with underperforming school districts, there's always a few great schools in those communities, always. And everybody knows who they are, right? Because that's where they tell me to go. And I go visit those schools, and they all have the same three things in common. They have a great principal who simply refuses to believe that it's the kid's fault. Number two, they have they engage in a lot of what I call creative non-compliance. They don't pay that much attention to central office. They don't teach to the rule, whatever the rule happens to be. They just do what they think makes sense for kids. And somewhere in the building, there's an ongoing dialogue. In some cases, it's literally up on the wall of how every kid in the school is doing what they need to be successful. And it's out there, and it's open, and it's understood, and it's discussed. And I've come to believe that we don't respect leadership at the school building level quite the way we should. And one of the things we should do is find some of these really great principles and learn from them and make them part of a larger conversation about how to make other schools better. Maybe I'm being overly naive and optimistic here, but I haven't found one yet where you have a school district that has 2 or 3 really terrific schools led by really terrific principals, where anybody has ever said to the really terrific principals, have you ever talked to the principals in the other schools about how you think about this job and how you go about doing it and what some of the keys to your success are? Because I'm telling you, the don't play to the creative non-compliance thing, anybody can play that game as long as you understand how to play that game and what your objectives are. And this notion of sort of a more open conversation about where every kid is and how they're performing, I mean, I just don't get the impression that, because this comes up over and over again every time I go to visit one of these places. I mean, it's pretty clear to me there's a formula, a recipe, whatever it is you want to call it. Now, this isn't making widgets, it's educating kids, but there's some characteristics that most of these successful schools have that I don't believe anybody is cross-talking to other people about. And I just think that, I think there's a learning opportunity here that right now is being missed.